A new analyst, a quiet guy named Leo, joined the sales department. He didn't talk to anyone, didn't drink coffee, and never went out for a smoke. But 2 weeks after his arrival, the employees began having nightmares. One after another, they woke up at 3 in the morning to the sound of something crawling on the ceiling in their bedrooms. And in the mornings at work, Leo would smile and ask, "How did you sleep? You have such dark circles under your eyes." The Techno Progress office was located in a business center on the outskirts of the city. 23 floors of glass and concrete, endless corridors. The sales department was on the 17th floor, in a corner barely lit by sunlight. 12 people worked there, all of them familiar with each other, who slept with whom, who drank, who was looking for a new job. Anna had worked in this department for 5 years. She knew every detail: Steve's morning coffee, Lisa's constant complaints about her husband, John's habit of twirling his hair when he was nervous. So when a stranger showed up at the door on Monday morning, everyone was wary. The man was young, about 25, wearing a gray suit that fit him like a sack. He didn't smile or say hello, but simply walked over to an empty desk in the corner, sat down, and opened his laptop. "This is Leo, our new analyst," the manager announced. "He'll be working on your reports." Leo didn't say a word. He simply stared at the screen and typed. His fingers glided over the keys with an unnatural speed, as if he weren't typing but tapping out some secret code. For the first few days, no one paid him any attention. New employees came and went, and Leo was just one of many. But by the end of the first week, Anna noticed something strange. Leo had stopped drinking. No water, no tea, no coffee. His mug sat empty on the table, and he never once went to the water cooler. "He probably doesn't like our water," Lisa joked. In the second week, Steve went missing. He didn't show up for work or answer his phone. The police came to his home, but the door was open and no one was inside. Only his toothbrush and laptop were missing. Everything else was still there. 2 days later, Lisa stopped coming. Her husband said she went shopping that evening and never returned. The phone wasn't answering, and the car was parked outside the house. Only her glasses and notebook were missing. Anna began to worry. She tried to talk to her boss, but she brushed her off. "People leave, they quit, it's none of your business." But Anna sensed something was wrong. She looked at Leo. He was sitting at his desk, smiling. For the first time in 2 weeks. The smile was strange, too wide, as if his face couldn't stretch his lips properly. That night, Anna had a nightmare. She lay in bed, unable to move, staring at the ceiling. Something large and black, like a spider but with a human head, was slowly crawling across the ceiling, its thin limbs moving. It descended toward her face, leaned over, and Anna saw Leo's face. Only his eyes were black, pupilless, and a thin thread extended from his mouth, entwining itself in her hair. She woke up at 3 in the morning, drenched in sweat. She caught her breath and swore to herself she'd tell someone about this tomorrow. In the morning, Leo was standing by her desk. "How did you sleep, Anna?" he asked. "You have such dark circles under your eyes." She looked into his eyes. They were ordinary, gray, without any blackness. But his smile, the smile was the same as in her dream. "Okay," she replied, trying not to tremble. Leo nodded and left. Anna watched him go, then suddenly noticed he was heading not to his desk, but to John's. John, staring at his computer screen, didn't notice Leo lean over and whisper something in his ear. John winced, turned pale, and stood up. "I have to go," he said and left the office. No one saw him again. After John's disappearance, silence reigned in the office. People were afraid to speak, afraid to look at each other. Every evening, someone didn't come home. Every morning, someone disappeared. The police arrived and asked questions, but Leo sat at his desk, typing, typing, typing. No one dared point a finger at him. Anna stopped sleeping. She was afraid to close her eyes because she kept dreaming of the same thing, a black body with a human face crawling across the ceiling. She started drinking coffee by the liter and munching on energy bars, but sleep still overtook her. On the 5th day of nightmares, Anna made a decision. She stayed in the office after work, hid in a utility room, and waited. At 10 o'clock, everyone left. Security patrolled the floors, but Anna remained hidden. At precisely midnight, she heard footsteps. Leo emerged from the shadows. He was no longer wearing his gray suit. He was naked, but his body wasn't human. Her skin had turned gray like concrete, cracked with black steam. From her back, between her shoulder blades, thin, long limbs sprouted, like spider legs. They crawled along the wall, leaving black marks on the white paint. Anna covered her mouth with her hand to stifle a scream. Leo stopped directly above her hiding place, bowed his head, and looked down. His eyes were now black, pupilless, but Anna felt he saw her. "I know you're here," he said. The voice came not from his throat, but from the air, from the walls, from the shadows themselves. "Did you think you could hide? I always know where you are. You're mine. You're all in my web." He sank to the floor. His body arched, his bones crunched, and a second later, the ordinary guy in the gray suit appeared before Anna again. "Get out," he said. "Don't keep me waiting." Anna left. Her legs were shaking, but she forced herself to look him in the eye. "Who are you?" she asked. "I'm the one who takes the extras. The ones who aren't needed. The ones who are useless. Every office has them. I call them food." He smiled, and Anna saw he had no teeth. Only a black void. Steve was a bad salesman. Lisa stole office supplies. John slept on the job. I took them. The company became more efficient. And me? Anna asked. Am I redundant, too? Leo tilted his head. You were the best. Until you started asking questions. Now you're redundant, too. He took a step toward her. Anna retreated, pressing her back against the wall. I have a family, she whispered. Children. Everyone does, Leo replied. But it doesn't matter. You disappear, and no one remembers. Your colleagues have already forgotten Steve. In a week, they'll forget Lisa. In a month, they'll forget John. And they'll forget you. It's always like that. He extended his hand. Anna closed her eyes. But the blow didn't come. She opened her eyes. Leo stood motionless, his face contorted in surprise. Something's wrong, he said. Aren't you afraid? Anna suddenly understood. She truly wasn't afraid. The fear had vanished, replaced by cold anger. No, she replied. You're not scary. You're just pathetic. She took a step toward him. Leo retreated. You can't, he whispered. You have to be afraid. You feed on fear, Anna realized. Without fear, you're nothing. She looked into his eyes, and he melted. His skin became translucent, his bones vanished, his face blurred. A minute later, all that remained of Leo was a puddle of black slime on the floor. Anna left the office. She had quit that morning. No one asked why. No one remembered Leo. A week later, a new employee arrived at the department, a quiet guy in a gray suit. He sat down at his desk, opened his laptop, and started typing. She felt like the office walls were closing in, the monitors were watching her, and the keyboards were whispering her name. At home, she packed her suitcase, got in a car, and left the city. Far away from the glass buildings. She settled in a small house near the forest. No internet, no TV, just a dog, an old stove, and silence. Anna thought this would save her. But the dreams wouldn't go away. Every night, she dreamed of the office. Empty desks, flickering monitors, and the quiet tapping of keys. She woke up in a cold sweat and stared at the ceiling for a long time, expecting a black body with a human face to descend from the darkness. A year passed. Anna had almost gotten used to the nightmares. She found a remote job, stopped drinking coffee at night, and got a cat. The dog slept at her feet, and the house was warm. She began to forget. But one day, when she went into town to buy groceries, a woman called out to her at the supermarket. Anna recognized her former colleague. "Anna," the woman smiled. "Are you back? We've all been thinking about you. It's strange, but the department has blossomed since you left. The new analyst is a real genius. His name, what's his name?" She paused, frowned, and tapped her forehead. "It's strange, I can't remember his name. Or his face. But he's very nice. Come visit, you'll like him." Anna's heart sank. Her heart pounded in her throat. "Is he still wearing the gray suit?" she asked. "Yes." "How do you know? Did you work with him?" Anna didn't answer. She quickly said goodbye and ran out of the store. All the way home, she kept checking her rearview mirror. She felt like someone was following her. A gray car, a gray sky, gray faces of passersby. She turned onto a dirt road, pressed the gas pedal, and didn't stop until she pulled into a yard. That night, she didn't sleep. She sat in the kitchen, drinking tea and looking out the window at the forest. The dog lay at her feet, but suddenly jumped up and growled into the darkness. Anna listened. A rustling sound came from the forest. It seemed like something was crawling through the dry leaves. Slowly, heavily, moving its long limbs. She went to the window. The moon was shining brightly, and in its light, Anna saw a figure. A man in a gray suit stood at the edge of the forest, looking at her house. His face was invisible, but Anna knew he was smiling. That broad smile no human face could portray. She drew the curtains and turned on the lights in all the rooms. The dog calmed down, but an hour later, it began howling. Anna looked out the window. The figure was standing at the gate. She called the police. The dispatcher said she'd call the patrol, but 5 minutes later she called back and said no one was at the address. Anna looked at the gate. The figure had disappeared. She exhaled and hung up. She sat on the living room floor all night, clutching a kitchen knife. The dog sat nearby, its fur standing on end, but it didn't bark. It simply stared at the door and whined softly. Towards morning, Anna fell asleep. She woke up to the dog licking her hand. The sun was shining outside, birds were singing. Anna got up, made some tea, and went out onto the porch. There was a note, folded into a triangle, on the step. She unfolded it. The note read, "Did you think you'd run away? I always know where you are. You're unwanted now, too. But I won't take you. I'll come every night and watch. And you'll be afraid. Every night. Forever." Anna burned the note, but every night, exactly at midnight, she heard a rustling outside the window. A dog howling. And in the darkness, at the gate, stood a man in a gray suit. He never left. He waited. He always waited. She stopped leaving the house. She stopped opening the curtains. She lives in the darkness, listening to every rustle. Sometimes she thinks she hears something crawling on the ceiling. She closes her eyes and whispers, "It's just the wind. It's just the old house. It's just nerves." But one night, when she opened her eyes, there was nothing on the ceiling anymore. But a figure stood in the corner of the room. A man in a gray suit with black eyes. He smiled and said, "Hello, Anna. I missed you." The lights went out. The dog fell silent. And no one saw Anna again. A week later, a new employee arrived at Technoprogress's sales department. Quiet, inconspicuous, in a gray suit. She sat at her desk, opened her laptop, and began typing. Analyst Leo looked at her and smiled. "Welcome," he said. "You're just in time. We have a lot of work to do." The new employee nodded. Her eyes were black, pupilless. And when she smiled, it was too wide, as if her face couldn't stretch her lips properly. The office fell silent. Only the clicking of keys. And the soft, almost inaudible rustling of the ceiling.